Hey guys, welcome to episode 9. It's been a little bit of a wait between episode 8 and 9. In fact, there's been a few delays in between. We've had a lot going on. Today we're doing thermoplastic line marking. So we've got a bit of yellow going down for the parking bays. That's going to marry up with the existing bays that were put down previously. These are going in at a 5 meter by 2.6, so quite a wide bay. But this place that we're at today, BCA, it stores cars. So they need a good bit of room to get in and out because there's so many movements, and just reduce that risk of damage, we're going a little bit bigger. So the guys are going to be doing everything in a hand mold today. From this, we're also going to be doing zebra crossings and then some indoor line marking, which is actually also going in thermo, but it's not indoor as such. It's under a canopy, but it's still on tarmac, so we're going with the thermo for that one as well. Anyway, I'm going to get out of the way of John, and I think we're about to move around the car park and go look at some of the other bits. So let's jump on, I'll show you what it's like. That's everything that we're doing today, so just waiting for them to come back and double check it, but hopefully that's all we're going to put in. Zebra crossing, we'll have to black that zebra out, but that'll take 10-15 minutes to black out. Then we can just move it back a couple of meters. Same with this, we'll have it blacked out. In fact, these blacking out right now, so that'll be down in 5 minutes. So all we're doing is we're using a single part acrylic on this, and Lee's literally going to roll it in, and I think we're taking out the number that's on there for them as well. So it's quite a thick product that's going down here, but obviously the tarmac's not black anymore, as it would be when it's new, so it does still stand out, but it does a good job of blacking it out anyway. Arguably it's quicker to spray, but we don't use a lot of black, and we don't want to have the machine filled with it constantly, so we literally hand roll instead. Oh, John's warming up the white. Are you going with the 200 mil? You're going to do it with the 200 mil?
Yeah, I got it to take one. I have to raise stop as well, so I need to get that.
Oh, stop underneath it. Yeah, cool. I've never actually used the 200 mil, so I'm going to see if I can have a quick go with it actually, and pull my first 200 mil line in. Actually, it turns out they don't trust me to do it. Let's take the club off. John's taken over. He said, no, I'm doing it.
I've never actually used the 200 mil, so I'm going to see if I can have a quick go with it actually.
John's going to put it in. So these are like the fleet design ones. And as I was saying yesterday, I'm not a massive fan. I find them more awkward to use, these ones, but the guys say they're easier to, when you're doing small areas like this, but they just don't flow back as nice, in my opinion. Pretty good considering, we have to sort of teach ourselves and write our own training program for it, and there really isn't any other sort of formal training for this sort of thing. It's kind of trial and error, and that's always the best way in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, when you're doing straight lines and you're using like the straight edges that we've got on here, you're doing parking bays, walkways, etc., or even if you're doing bigger text, it's so much easier than sort of really fiddly little bits like this. Nicely done. All right, there's our stop sign in. All we're going to do now is we're going to paint the white line in over the top, and again, they don't want me to touch it. No, knocked it. Okay, they're going to get back over that little corner piece and the bit they knocked. I'm glad they're correcting that a little bit there, because where they knocked it, it's like ever so slight. It's only like, I don't know, not even an inch out. It's probably a centimetre out looking at it. I don't know if you can quite see it, but it's like really minor detail. That was my attempt. That's got to be re-straightened out. I fucked it up, so they've taken it back off me again. It's like I said the other day, like I always like to come on site and give it a go, but I think they absolutely hate me coming to site, because I always come in, try something, get it wrong, and they have to go and fix it. The thing is, I don't get out on the tools a great deal anymore. A lot of my time is spent in the office. I try to get out and make content for you guys so I can always film and have fresh content for you, but it's nice to highlight that, you know, even though I feel that we're so good, we are amazing at what we do, like we still make mistakes, and you know, it's a learning curve, and everybody does. You know, even people that have been doing it 20, 30 years make mistakes. Not everybody likes to admit they make mistakes, but trust me, they do. I think the important thing is how you deal with it. So yeah, straightening it out, adding a better edge onto it. You can see already it does look 10 times better. At the end of the day, I mean, it's got to be functional, sure, but it has to be aesthetically pleasing. I think that's just as important, really. You know, it has to look absolutely right. And I think that's one of the key considerations. I was talking to you guys about why it's worth doing thermoplastic over the spray. It's simply because our customers expect the look of thermoplastic, and so they know what they expect, they know what they want it to look like, and then when we try and do spray, you know, it's really sharp, it's really neat, but they kind of, I don't know, they still have this expectation that it would look like thermoplastic, and so we've started doing an awful lot more of it. Time to go. All done?
All done, bro.
Hey guys, so it's Tuesday morning. I'm filming on my phone because I left my camera back at the house. And normally I like to have a camera and a mic because it's much better quality. But today we're in Warwickshire for the Wildlife Trust. They want us to mark a car park out for them. The only problem, we're in the middle of the woods. There's not a great deal I can do on this sort of land to mark out parking spaces. You can get a couple of things, like some plastic tags that you can like hammer into the ground, and you know, like the white space, like a little 4x4 square the size of a beer mat. You can hammer those into the ground, and they do an okay job. You can use that to sort of mark out a parking space, but it's not really line marking per se, is it? It's kind of like, you know, anyone can bang it in 5 minutes. The problem with things like that, obviously, you know, for me to then send the guys out, charge the customer to come out and do it, you know, you're sort of £1,000 into a job, and really you might only need £10 worth of little squares that you guys can hammer in yourself in 5 or 10 minutes. But if you really want us to come out, then of course we'll come out and do it, but you know, it should be fairly straightforward for you guys to tackle anyway. So that's pretty much it for this part. I mean, there's no point in carrying on walking. There's any woods further down here. I'm going to head back up to the car, but as you can see, the ground is really, I mean, it's gorgeous, but it's not suitable for line marking in my opinion. Anyway, this afternoon we're heading over to Avon Cosmetics in Corby. I first worked with Avon around 10 years ago. I was doing electrical work at the time, all the electrical inspection and testing for them and installations. But today we're there doing some zebra crossings for them. So yeah, it should be fun. I mean, the guys didn't finish till 2:30 last night, or this morning should I say, at BCA, so it's quite a late one. Unfortunately, as I was showing you yesterday, I kind of buggered the, well, I know I showed you in a different video, sorry, I didn't, in the video I did with Harry last night, I think I just introduced actually, I didn't get a chance to show you, but I did another one on Instagram and YouTube, and I was showing you that they had a problem with the lights. They had a light bulb out, they said could I fix it? I couldn't quite get it. I was trying to pull like the cables out, put it all back together, because it was an electrical fault. It wasn't like a bulb issue, it was actually an electrical fault. We've had it before. Anyway, I pulled like the switches apart, obviously put something back wrong, it shorted everything out. We lost all the lights then. Turns out I'm not an auto electrician, just a basic electrician. Not even that anymore. Anyway, shorted out all the lights. The guys are working without any lights, so it's been a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. I shouldn't have touched it. Anyway, look, I'm going to end this part here because I appreciate it's really jerky on my phone and the audio quality's crap. So let's jump forward to Avon this evening or this afternoon around 2 o'clock. I'll see you guys over there. Hey guys, so we made it to Avon, and yes, I did forget the camera, which means we've got a bit of grainy audio and some jittery footage for you guys, but I'll try and stand still as I'm filming it as we go around for you. Let's have a quick look, see what the guys are up to. Oh, I see some of the first zebras. Okay, so this is what the guys have put in already. So, I mean, I can see they're fresh. Okay, cool, that's the first ones. There are some more just here. In fact, I can see the guys at the back with the van, so we'll have a quick look, but here is a couple more zebras they've got in. So, oh, I can smell the thermo now. It's smelling good. All right, let's see what we're doing over here then. So we've got the large 200mm molds on today. So the job's actually finished. Looking good. I arrived too late, obviously, to film it all being done. Yeah, I'll see you there, just jump. Anyway, the boys came in to do the job. This was supposed to be dug out and replaced this morning, all the potholes and bits and pieces. Instead, put the thermo down, and they said, no, just put it in. The guy's supposed to do it this morning, hasn't done it. So you know what's gonna happen is we're gonna, we finished our part. They're gonna dig that out tomorrow, replace the pothole, and then go, well, where are you? We need you back in to redo it, thanks. So they've got a path going all the way around. Which I don't mind too much, because we'll charge to come back, but it is a real pain because it's just like, it's disorganization on the part of a third party, and the problem is, like, I feel it reflects badly on us because I look at it and go, well, the half pad's missing on the zebra crossing. Well, because the guys have dug out to fill out a pothole, they were supposed to have it done a week ago. Then they were coming in this morning, which they did. They saw cut it. They didn't fit it all back in and said, don't worry, just fit the lines on. Yeah, great, but who's gonna get the call back when you dig that out? Anyway, treading on the brand new zebras. Oh, that's them in. Nicely done. I'm guessing the path is going to go to a gate, seeing as it currently just goes straight over the road to nowhere. The guys got here a couple of hours ago. To be fair, it was only 36 zebra crossing pads, so it was never a big job anyway. Maybe they've been on site 2 hours all in, setting out and line marking it all, so pretty quick. But I missed most of the action. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that one. We got enough footage yesterday. That'll be fine. Nobody likes admitting when they're wrong. And I hate being wrong just as much as everybody else. But today is a humbling moment for me because we made a mistake and I've got to come back out and rectify it following a site visit yesterday. So you guys saw the install that we just did a minute ago. Now that was actually done the other day. So we're back in today. Well, at least I am, because the guys are off. And I have to rectify a few of the bits. Let me show you where we went wrong. Where we went wrong here, this is in too tight for a car. So they've got a really big wide road here, really narrow this side. It just wasn't measured out right. I've got to put another curve in to join back up here. Now I've had to black it out because unfortunately it's the only way I can do anything with it, and it doesn't look amazing, I've got to be honest. I've remeasured out where my blocks are going to go, and I've gone over the old blocks, but it's a problem because if I hydroblast it, I mean, it would cost thousands, and honestly, it would still damage the tarmac. If I grind it, we've got grinding equipment with us, or at least I have, but again, I'm worried it will damage the tarmac beyond repair, and it will make it worse. Don't get me wrong, nobody likes showing where they've gone wrong. You know, we've all got jobs that haven't panned out quite so well, no matter who you are. This is just one of ours. Now, down here, I've also put in some doubles, or at least the guys put in doubles. They look okay here, but I have had to take out all the doubles down there. That isn't the standard that we can accept. It's not up to it. You know, the customers deserve better and we expect better, but we understand these things happen. You know, this is the reality of it. These things do happen. We've just got to put it right. And sometimes we make mistakes. How you fix it and how you rectify it is what matters. Now, as I said, we've gone for blacking out on the tarmac, which on camera stands out really, really bright. Once we go over it with the white, I think it'll blend in quite nicely, but I'll show you once I'm done. I've got a few other little bits and pieces to look at. Anyway, humbling moment for me today, but let's put it right. Let's get the customer happy. Let's do the best job we can with it. Crack on, move on to the next one. Be a nice day all in. Let's do it. So I devised a little bit of a plan to get this curve in right. What I've done is I've used a couple of tins of paint, held the string line on the end, and then pulled it around and popped the paint here and here to give me a bit of a curve. And then, because the string line's stuck to the bottom of the paint tins a bit, what I've done is I've chalked it roughly where I'm gonna go. And then once I paint this in, I'll be able to keep it nice and smooth. Luckily, we've got like a tracking wheel, so we'll be able to keep that in, a nice curve to go in. And then I'm just gonna literally paint over the top of these, make sure I've got everything spaced out correctly, and then we should be good. So what I've done is I've got my first one here, gap, next one gap, next one gap, next one gap. I'm just gonna recheck all of these first before I paint anything in. Once I'm done, then we're gonna start the painting work. All right, that is better. That's how I expected it to look. That is so much better than what it was. You can see where the black line was. Had a little bit of a splatter there at the front as I started, but I can tidy that up. I'm just gonna add a little bit onto there. That'll square that up, nice. And it'll look perfect. But yeah, a whole lot better if I do say so myself. I'm gonna add this cone in so nobody drives over that bit. Add that tiny little piece to the front and we're good to go. So we're about done for the week. We've got one more project left on today. We're over at a farm for Riverford Organic, so we're gonna head over there in just a moment. I just thought I'd show you what I'm up to here, because I always like to end on a question of the week that I get through YouTube for the episodes. Now, for today's filming, I've been doing an awful lot for part of our training course, but also an awful lot for our investor page. Now, if you guys haven't seen it yet, which you probably haven't, because in fact, I'm not sure I've announced it before today. So the video I was just filming is gonna sit right here, and this is investing in Linemark.com. So one of the things we're gonna be doing over the coming months is announce our investment. I guess this is probably a precursor to it, I suppose, really. But yeah, so there are going to be available downloads for people to get here. So we've got the business plan, our projections, financial terms, we've got the one-page pitch, we've got a full pitch deck, a detailed use of funds, etc., where we've grown, what we've done, where we've come from, how we're growing the business. Now, ultimately, you know, growing Linemark.com, I started it September 21, and I didn't really use it the first 6 months. I had other things going on, so I started it the following year in 22. Now we've done almost £2 million now in revenue in 2.5 years, which is pretty good. We're growing at 48% annually, which is fantastic. So we've done just under £750,000 for the year. We're going to be hitting about 1.5 million in 12 months' time. Now, in order to get there, essentially, we've got a bigger sort of overarching sort of plan where our aim is to hit 12 million in revenue and control 22% of the market of a 65 million pound market. Now, that's 65 million is what we value the market at because we deliver off-highway work. So we don't look into the highway industry and what that's worth. We don't look at other areas such as the resin flooring industry because we're focusing purely on line marking for car parks and warehouses. In fact, we've had a company working with us for quite a while now that do all sorts of research on industries, trends, growth, etc. And the market itself is growing about 10% annually, which is huge, you know. But when we look at that, we download reports and we work out what market we're in. So, for example, we're in a facilities management industry, which is worth nearly 18 billion. But when we actually sort of drill down into what our portion of that would be, like a serviceable or a total addressable market is, obviously that reduces significantly. So we've got around 65 million as a TAM, or total addressable market for line marking here in the UK when we focus on off-highway line marking, specifically for car parks and warehouses. Of that, we've got a serviceable one of about 12 million, which is where we expect to be in 5 years' time. I started linemark.com on my own, and I'm still the only director, and I like that I own it, but equally I've come to the realization that if I really want to achieve these goals, so for me, I want to be the market leader in off-highway line marking, and I am going to get there. I'm absolutely going to get there, but I also realize that in order for me to get there, I can't do it alone anymore. And that's kind of like the realization I've found over the last 6 to 12 months as I've sort of grown it, and I've sort of thought, you know, I'm definitely going to get there, but on my own, it might take me 25 years. And I know that I'm going to have to get there through acquisitions. I'm going to have to, well, will I get there, in fact, on my own? That's another question, really, because I also think having investors in and having other people work with you, it brings other insights, from people that have also grown other companies that can really help you get there. And I know that we will get there. It's just a matter of time. But I realise that in order for me to grow and to get where I want this business to be, literally leading the off-highway market, I'm going to need some help. And that means, of course, giving away a portion of my company. So anyway, long story short, we had a lot of valuations carried out. I can show you a little bit of detail on it. So tech-enabled company, £63 million market that's serviceable for us. We think it's quite fragmented. So we're looking to really gain control of this market ourselves. We think that really the industry lacks a lot of innovation and quite sort of old-fashioned companies, old-fashioned approaches. And that, really has led to smaller margins, a lackluster service, poor efficiency, and, really no customer loyalty. And I would say that's true because, we've come into this industry and we take work away from some, fairly well-known brands in the industry, and we literally get presented it and said, Alex, can you do this job? We submit our price. More often than not, we're more expensive, and that has never really been an issue. We still win it from some of these larger, well-established companies who we all know, and people still choose to go with us. And we're nowhere near cheaper. We're always more money, but we provide a tech-enabled service that's really quick, really efficient, and really, really good quality. But most of all, it's really communicative. A lot of people who say they're easy to communicate with and easy to talk through, they're shy. With us, we use like an online platform for tracking all of our projects, so the customer sees from their initial quotation, from when they first contact us, it's a clear path to what happens. Then we're going to contact you here. Then we're going to do this. Then we're going to send you the documents. Then we're going to install it. Then we're going to, do the warranty work. Then, because when we come out every year and we we assess everything through our Superline thing. And again, that's another thing. Warranties, right? We provide the longest warranty on the planet. It's called Superline. It's not available to anybody else on the planet except our customers. And again, it's a thing that people just don't put enough value in my opinion, when they're building their line marking company. And so it's another thing we've really grown. Anyway, we've then got like the solution that we're making here. So tech enabled, we've got a subscription model as well as our interactive portals. We don't think there's a market leader. A lot of people might think they're the market leaders. There is no single market leader yet. And there will be, and we will be it, but it's going to take time. Just saying you're it doesn't make it true. So we're also seeing like a good growth of like 9.4% annually as well. In warehouse stock as well. So that's growing nicely. We've grown at 48% every year, which is fantastic. So I said like we started our marketing, 200K in revenue, then we did 500K, we expanded our team, we did 650K, 7,000 social media followers. So we've actually just done for our September now, we're at 750,000. Although it's not September now, obviously I appreciate it. It is October. So we've got 300 clients, 55K monthly revenue, say, 25% conversion, 100,000 YouTube views, and that's growing constantly. So here's where we looked at the market and we said it's worth 17.3 billion. Our SAM is 63, our TAM is 12 million, and we want a 22.4% market share by year 5. So it should work nicely. We've got our installations, we've got our super line, and we've got our road lines as well. Yeah, it's pretty good actually. And then we've put together a little plan for people, a long-term growth plan where we're going to be each year. We've done a little comparison between other companies. I've done a very brief intro. Yeah, you know, basic things to sort of show people exactly what we're up to and what's going on. That's why I've not been able to make an awful lot of videos recently. And I started out the weekly vlog series and I was like, well, I'll make a video every single week. I kind of changed that into more episodes than weekly vlogs simply because I have had to spend so much time building this. And, you know, it goes on and on. We've got projections, we've got changes and reviews to our business plans, how we've remodeled and changed things to improve it, make it more profitable, etc., etc. All of that has led to quite a lot of work and a bit of a lack, I would say, in some of the videos. So apologies if you have been waiting for the weekly vlogs and been waiting a little while. Now, I wanted to answer a question I got through, so question of the week. Okay, so I got a question 4 days ago, and it simply says, which is harder, floor grinding epoxy coating versus line striping? Now, I think the question here, which is harder, floor grinding, epoxy coating versus line stripe, I think it's nothing to do with the preparation. It's just which is harder, internal line marking or external line marking. Now, internal line marking is a lot more time consuming, needs an awful lot more equipment. But when it comes down to like internal versus external, there's a very big difference between, I think that the sort of barrier to entry is the skill level, right? So you can start a line marking company today, doesn't mean you can make it profitable. You could do the same with, the same for indoor line marking. Again, doesn't mean it'll be profitable. I think it comes down to like the skill level you've got, your attitude to it, but also your availability to cash and funds. So like the question is, which is easier? Well, obviously car parks are easier, but that's a very, very broad question because car parks are easier when it's dry, when the surface is good, when you've got clear access and there are no cars in the way. That's when car parks are easy. But they can also be really difficult. You know, weather plays massively into this. A poor surface, like with crappy tarmac, crappy concrete, whatever, that makes it very difficult if you've got potholes. Also the machines, you know, they've got a fixed sort of bar where the spray machine sits. Now you get a couple that have got the floating ones on the Titan. I don't rate them, but they've got a couple like that where you can sort of stop the lines from going wider and narrower as you're sort of going over a rough surface like that. You know, your spray arm can move up and down and that causes lines to fluctuate. Some people are really fussy with those sort of things, but you know, that can be difficult. So there are still challenges, drying the ground, clearing off the mud. So there are definitely challenges, but overall, car park line marking and outdoor line marking, way, way easier than indoor line marking. For indoors, I mean, to start out with, you've got the preparation, right? Now, preparation is key, and you'll hear that over and over again, but what that really means is, you know, understanding how you're going to get that paint to stick, how long it's going to take to dry, and how long it's going to last. Those are like the key things, really. So when we're doing indoor line marking, you know, we're grinding surfaces or filling epoxies, like the biggest thing is going to be just prepping the ground. And sometimes like we've been to places where we've made mistakes, right? And we've just gone into like a workshop, it's a bit oily and greasy, and we've just gone and like shot blasted the ground and then put the lines down. and then the lines start to peel up, and it's because we've got like oil contamination, or because the floor's dirty and greasy and oily. We've sort of looked at it and thought, okay, well, if we shot blast it or grind it, it'll be absolutely fine. That's not the case. What we really needed to do was degrease the floor first, get it completely clean, because what we don't want to do is introduce contaminants, even microscopic contaminants, into that floor. Will start eating away at the paints, start causing delamination of the paints as well. It's an absolute bloody nightmare. So yeah, outdoor line marking for car parks, I would say, is easiest. And if you've got any mistakes or problems, or you've got a return, or you've got a failure in any way, it's usually easier to rectify and fix. It's just a case of moving a car. Inside a warehouse, you've got stock, you've got operational sort of restrictions or hazards, whatever there may be. You've got a lot more equipment. For us, we do a lot of shot blasting and grinding. Now, we struggled with shot blasting, getting it dead perfectly straight every single time. And so we came up with a laser guide system to make that even better. We also found that, how we were applying, which products we were using, we were getting different feedback, based on how long it took, what the smell level was, like a VOC, if you like, how smelly it is, how long it was lasting, whether we were getting black marks from tires, or, again, like I said, about contamination from the floor being oily or greasy to start with, and what we really needed to consider before installing the lines, how we prepare it, not just in shot blasting, but do we need to degrease it and clean it? So there's a lot more considerations, but there's also the barrier to entry isn't just there, it's also monetary. You can start doing a car park for literally a few £100s. In fact, you could go out and buy an aluminium straight edge for about 50 quid and a hand mold for another 50 quid, right? That'll set you back £100. Get yourself a tape measure, I suppose, as well. And on a dry, sunny day, you could install MMA line markings for, say £150 investment up front, plus your paint, a few £100 for a tin. You could do a car park of 20, 30 parking bays for a few £100 on your own. Certainly you'll find it backbreaking doing more than about 10 or 20 bays. That's really when you'll find using a spray machine works best. It's also easier, it's quicker, certainly if you're doing a lot more parking spaces. But yeah, you can get started for next to nothing. And I'd say, like, indoor line marking, it's great, it's bigger money, but you had better be really, really skilled at it. And there's very little room for error. This is where I say, like, outdoors easier than indoor, because there's more room for error. If you make a mistake outdoors, you can generally just paint it black if it's tarmac, or you can grind it if it's concrete, and you can kind of redo it and people are okay with it. But indoors, less so. Anyway, let's jump back, because I realize I've been talking for like 20 minutes there, and that's like, Harry's got a lot of editing to do when I ramble on. I mean, we get through a shed load of coffees and bits and pieces just thinking of filming things and going through things. But yeah, that's it from me. I think what we're going to do, I'm going to end my question of the week there. I hope that answered without me rambling too much. I know I can ramble on sometimes, to be honest. So anywho, we're going to head over to a farm in Peterborough run by Riverford, and we're going to go have a look at some line markings that we're installing over there. So let's jump over to Riverford. I'll show you what we're up to, and then we'll end this episode number 9, and I'll see you guys in number 10.